Thank you for coming.
Sure, anything for you, kid.
What an honor to be up here with you. We'll be just having a conversation, just like we do at home. So you were here last year at World's Fair Nano. I'm going to switch over here, as this is your show. And you were talking about the future of books last year. So what has happened? Give us the update.
Well, how many of you read books? Woo! And how many of you read print books versus ebooks? Print books and ebooks and audiobooks. And how about anybody read all different kinds of books? So what you're seeing here is the 200th anniversary of HarperCollins. That's me. All of my colleagues, in celebration of our 200th anniversary, we decided to do 6-word memoirs about why we read. So while we're talking, you'll be able to see all the people at HarperCollins from all over the world giving you little snippets of why they read. In the past year, books have grown, and they've grown a lot. They've grown by just about 0.5% every year for the past 5 years. So fiction books have gone down by about 6%. Nonfiction books have gone up by about 6%.
Okay, that's amazing. So, and since, we just had an election since the last year, and since Donald Trump was elected in the United States, how has that changed reading behavior?
Well, a lot of people are freaked out. And so this book has done extremely well for us, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, because people are trying to understand how to get through a situation that they didn't comprehend, and a lot more nonfiction is being read, especially in what would be traditionally called the red states. So you're getting a 25% increase in nonfiction reading in the red states. Also, you have books like Katie Tur. Pass me that one, Doug, thank you. Unbelievable. So books by people who were involved in the presidential election. Hillary Clinton obviously had a book come out. It's probably going to be #1. Katie Tur, I don't know how many of you have heard of Katie Tur. She's sort of an outsider reporter. She didn't have a whole lot of experience, certainly not covering a president, and then she got assigned to cover Donald Trump, and she's written all about it. By the way, for any of you that want to come to the little session afterwards, I will be giving away copies of these books to people that want to join. Always an incentive.
So you have the hardcovers here. You also have your iPad on stage.
Yep.
Both formats that people have been reading. So there's been a lot of talk about the changing book format over the years, and you briefly touched on it. So are people continuing to read more and more ebooks?
So what's happened is, in the book industry, we began to see ebook growth explode, especially when the Kindle came out, when the iPad came out, when Barnes & Noble had the Nook, and the book growth went all the way up to 35% ebook. And we call that the P to E ratio. But now it's come down, and people are really reading at about 20% ebooks versus physical books. Audiobooks have seen the biggest growth, 25% increase in audiobook. People love to consume audiobooks. It's Audible has played a big part in that.
And in terms of categories, what categories of books are gaining popularity and what are losing market share?
One category that's losing a bit of market share is romance, even though the romance readers, and they are our most prolific readers. Romance readers read like a book a week. And the romance novels, I think I may have one here. It's a smaller format. No, I don't have that. But it's the one that you find in your supermarket. It's called a mass market. And what's happened is that the big box stores, Walmart, Sam's, BJ's, they're not taking as many of the smaller format. Also, the down pricing of ebooks has made a big difference in people reading romance as an ebook. And so that's a much higher percentage of readers are going to read romance fiction as an ebook, because a lot of times those books are put down to 99 cents or $1.99. So that is one category that's gone down. Religious books have gone up, and that's another category where people are trying to find something to believe in. People vote at the bookstore, which is an amazing phenomenon that we find. And as a book publisher, you're always trying to figure out what's going to be next. You always are thinking about the future. Is Hillary going to win? Is Donald Trump going to win? What's going to happen in the midterm elections? Because it takes such a long time for a book to come out that you actually have to almost be a psychic to try to predict what book is going to work. And invariably, the book that you think is going to be the big book very well may not be the big book, and a book that you maybe never even expected to be a big book becomes the book of the year. For example, we did a book called Hillbilly Elegy. How many of you have heard of that book? So that's by a guy named J.D. Vance. He grew up in the Rust Belt in Ohio, and he really explained what it was like to be a disenfranchised voter in places like Ohio. And therefore, his book helped so many people understand what happened in the election. He was really an amazing author, an amazing spokesperson for the cause of understanding his population, understanding what it was like to be a hillbilly. And his book has done extremely well.
As your son, I know that you are very active on Facebook, which I love. And last year you revealed that you had begun Facebook Lives, daily lives with authors. Can you kind of explain, and you're the only publishing house in the world to do so?
Yes.
So what is that? What's on the horizon? How are you using Facebook and social media to help the book industry?
So Facebook Live, I'm sure lots of you have seen it, is something that is a way for you to connect readers to their authors. So everybody is holding their phone. So everybody's holding their pad, their phone, whatever it might be. If you're not there, then you're going to miss out. So what we decided to do, I took my television experience, and we decided to create daily Facebook Live programming with authors, many of whom would never even be on Facebook. For example, here is a Brooklyn-based, amazing literary fiction writer, Nicole Krauss. If you have the desire to get a new fiction book, this is extraordinary. She's never done a Facebook Live, but we reached out to Nicole. The New York Times had a front page review for her, and we said, Nicole, you've got 5,000 fans on Facebook. What if we just talk to you about your book, have you read your book, a few pages of your book live, and people will share it. And that's what's been happening. We have about 15 million views of authors and their content. We've grown their pages by about 1 million altogether. We have shares in the hundreds of thousands, close to 1 million likes and reactions. So this is something that has put us sort of ahead of the pack in terms of programming. And there's something new coming down the pike.
What is it?
It is called Facebook Watch. Have any of you seen any shows on Facebook Watch? Yeah.
Yeah.
So Facebook Watch is something that would allow you to, let's say, binge watch a series that you might watch on HBO or Showtime, but these are shows that are being produced specifically and exclusively for Facebook, like The Ball Family, The Humans of New York guy. All of these people have their own shows. So we are currently producing 2 shows for 2 authors. This one is an amazing author, 13 Things Mentally Strong Parents Don't Do. How many of your parents shielded you from pain growing up? Well, if they did, that was a big mistake. I could torture you now. I'll make up for it. Here's another book that we're doing a show about. It's called Hiding in the Bathroom, and it's a book specifically for introverted entrepreneurs. How many of you are self-proclaimed introverts? Yeah, or you have social anxiety. You'd rather work in your yoga pants. You'd rather stay home. You'd rather not mingle at the cocktail party. You'd rather hide in the bathroom. Hence the book, Hiding in the Bathroom, which is an introvert's roadmap to getting out there when you'd really rather stay home. So what we're doing with Facebook is we are one of the only book publishers. We are what's known as whitelisted, which is an early adapter technology that Facebook allows us in. It'll then probably get rolled out to everyone. And we are creating multi-episode series that you can then watch over and over again, and you can watch all of them in one day if you'd like. So that's the newest thing that's happening with books, at least on Facebook and social media. You can put that back.
Very exciting. And I know you work a lot with international books, so can you talk a bit about how books are marketed or purchased differently overseas versus in America?
Yeah, so for example, in China, they don't have Facebook. But they have something else, and I'm going to tell you, it is called, I think, WeChat. Has anybody heard of that app, WeChat? Yeah. So in China, what they've done to get their books out there is they find people who are influencers on the WeChat platform, and they have at least 100,000 or more fans, probably 1 million fans. Everything's so much bigger in China. And they hire those people, they give them a cut of book sales, and then they give them all of the materials to market the books. They might give them an excerpt from the book, an author interview, links to buy the book, and then when those books sell, the influencers get a cut of the book. That's like affiliate marketing, but it's happening in China on this social network. Also, what's happening in China, and really all over the world, is that parents are wanting their children to learn English very young, like grade school. So the classic American and English children's books like Frog and Toad, Goodnight Moon, Charlotte's Web, and the I Can Read series, these are being prioritized for children all over the world so that by the time they're 8, 9, and 10 years old, they're totally fluent reading, writing, and speaking English.
Do you have, what's coming up? What are you excited about? Do you have any books that you're publishing right now that you could give us a little sneak peek at?
Yeah, well, this is one that I just wanted to talk about because another big trend that's definitely working into the future is celebrities having their own book clubs. So this is Reese Witherspoon's book club. How many of you knew that Reese Witherspoon had a book club? Well, you should check it out. It's Reese's book club pick. It's called The Alice Network. It's a book about spies, female spies during World War I and post-World War II. But, you know, Lenny's List is a big one. And really for us, when books are being made into movies, that's the big trend. We have a program at HarperCollins called the Lead Read. And what the Lead Read is that all the publishers each season nominate a book that they think is their best book. And then all of the sales force gets together and they read all the books that have been nominated and they narrow it down and narrow it down and narrow it down until one book becomes the lead read. And then that book gets all the marketing and all of the love from the independent bookstores. And those books, The Nest was our first ever lead read. It was a huge bestseller. Our current lead read, I think I might have it here. Yep. It is called The Child Finder by Renee Denfield. So, you know, you always have to figure out how are you going to break out an author in this very complicated world where people are completely addicted to so many kinds of media. How do you find them? One thing that we're really focusing on is the rise of the independent bookstore. Every Saturday on Facebook Live, we take you live to a different independent bookstore in America where you get to meet the people who hand sell the books. You get to find out what kinds of exciting programs are going on. There's the Word bookstore right around the corner here in Brooklyn, which I happen to see Nicole Krause's book in the window. So these are just unusual and exciting things that are happening. I want to talk about a couple of books that are coming out. For example, this fabulous book, Cakes by Melissa. So sometimes you want to sign up a brand. So Cakes by Melissa is this inspirational cookbook by the woman who created Baked by Melissa. So, you know, as a book publisher, you're always trying to figure out how to find new, fresh voices on the page, new, fresh voices. And sometimes you have books that are extremely interesting and really tie into world events. Here is a book that our young adult division, I don't know how many of you have heard of this book. Even if you are an adult, most of you are, highly recommend. This is called The Hate You Give. And this is a fictionalized account of what happened in Ferguson, Missouri, with the Michael Brown case. And it's deeply moving and an amazing book. It was just longlisted for the National Book Award. So the kinds of things that we're doing at HarperCollins is, of course, we're always just trying to find the best books. We're trying to think ahead of what people might be interested in, and then we're trying to figure out how to reach you, the readers, and how to get you to actually turn off your phones, turn off your iPads, stop snapping and chatting and all the things you guys do, and sit in a really cozy chair by a fire or an imagined fire and actually pick up and smell a book. I mean, we hear from people all the time that they don't really want to read an ebook because ebooks don't smell so good. So we highly urge people, you know, to stick with the physical book and then add on. You can also read books in 3 different formats. You can wake up in the morning and you can listen to Alexa read to you from a book, and then you can go onto your Kindle when you're commuting if you don't want to carry your book on the train. And then when you get home at night, you can sit in that cozy chair and read the physical edition. So the bundling of books is something that is continuing to grow.
Thank you so much. We have time for one more question now, so just to tie everything back together. Since robots have been a big part of the discussion and the future, do you think one day that robots or androids will be writing books?
Here's my fantasy about that. I would like to take a robot, and I would like to give a robot like the top 10 greatest fiction novels of all time, have the robot somehow read those books, and then give the robot some sort of a plot and have the robot write a book that combines all of those amazing writers and see if it's any good. I don't think it will be, but but it might be.
Well, that's all the time we have. Thank you so much. Lisa
Thank
Sharkey,
you.
one more time.
Thank you.